Hello again, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us for one of our special end-of-the-year editions of Arkansas Week, a one-on-one with United States Senator John Boozman, Republican of Arkansas. Senator, thanks very much for making this time available.
Well, thanks so much, as always, for having us. We appreciate you, appreciate your show.
Well, as is always made necessary because of congressional schedules, inclement weather, and whatever, the audience has advised that we were compelled to tape our broadcast on December the 5th. So there's going to be a little time lag here. We may be talking thematically rather than about specific, Senator, but be that as it may. There is broad public dismay with both pox on both your houses, pox on the White House, with Washington. To say that it's broken is it's almost a cliche now, but it does not seem to be functioning very well. Do you see any hope in the year that begins now?
Well, I'm an optometrist by training, Steve, and I'd rather be introduced at events as an optometrist. That's a respected profession. I think we're at 8% now, the lowest ever. So, yeah, I think so. You know, it's interesting, some of the big things, and right now we're working hard on a farm bill. I think that is something that lots of people want to get passed. That's not Democrats and Republicans, that's regional differences more than anything. Southern agriculture versus the Midwest, where we irrigate a lot, they don't. Differences that way. But I think we'll get some of those things done. The WRDA bill, the big infrastructure bill that has to do with our ports and harbors and inland waterways, which is so important. These are the underpinnings of the country. We can get those things done. Where we really struggle is with the budget. And that's where things, you know, where you really have a real difference of opinion. Do you raise taxes? Do you create new programs? Or do you hunker down a little bit, try and reduce the deficit, which, you know, probably is going to be $600–700 billion this year. It has been $1 trillion for the last several years. And then also try and reduce the debt, which is hovering at $17 trillion now.
The two things that you mentioned, sir, the infrastructure bill and the farm bill.
Farm bill.
Well, you ladies and gentlemen on your side of the Capitol have reached consensus on that. You've sent bills over there and they're going nowhere in the House. The problem would seem to be less. To what extent is it urban, rural? What extent is it regional?
Yeah.
And what extent is it partisan? And what extent is it
I think
intra-party?
No, I think you make a good point, especially the urban-rural with the farm bill and things like that. It's all of those things. You know, it's a combination of all of it. With the farm bill, like I say, it's more regional than it is, I think, anything. With the big water resources bill, and then we were able last Congress to pass the reauthorization of the highway bill. And the people that did that were Barbara Boxer and Jim Inhofe. Both are, you know, people that I work with every day. They have absolutely nothing in common except for the fact that they believe that transportation, the infrastructure of our country, is so important that we need to be spending money in those, you know, in those regards. So those kind of things we can get done. The big thing is the budget. You know, how much money do you spend next year? You know, do we continue trying to ratchet down on the discretionary spending and things? And that's really where the big impasse is at.
Well, on the farm bill within the House, there appears to be, well, between the chambers and certainly in the House, there's a contingent that continues to demand far more in food stamp cuts than the Senate is willing to accept.
Right.
Somebody's got to give if you're going to get a bill.
And they will. You know, we're in conference now. The House passed their bill, and then the Senate passed. So we are in conference now. But you're right. You know, there is a huge difference, you know, in that. And the key there is you've got to figure out the number that is such that it protects the taxpayers, such that, you know, that they have confidence that the money's going to the people that desperately need help. And there are a number of people. I'm a co-chair of the Hunger Caucus in the Senate, was a co-chair of the Hunger Caucus in the House. We have real problems in that area. And so everybody agrees that we need to help the people that need to be helped. The question is, you know, what amount of resources to do that, because there is a finite amount of dollars. But at the end of the day, I think that we'll reach agreement with that, and I don't know what that number will be. the thing that I feel good about is that everybody wants to get there, which is really important.
Are you certain that they do?
I really am, in the sense, that what they're hearing from their constituents, is that it is important. It's probably 18% of Arkansas's economy. I was out in California earlier in the year talking to some of the rice producers. I'm on the Ag Committee in the context of that. We think of Silicon Valley, we think of all the marvelous things that happen in California because of their climate and this and that. But again, probably their number one resource is agriculture. They can grow anything. The senator from Delaware, Senator Coons, every time I see him, he says, "John, we've got something in common, chickens." They grow a lot of poultry in Delaware. So you don't think about those things. So there really is a lot of pressure. And the reason it's so important, Steve, we talk about all the time, jobs, jobs, jobs. That's what I need to be worrying about. In fact, I think every elected official, throughout the country right now needs to work up every day and think, how can we protect savings, pension plans, create jobs, those kind of things. But if you don't have certainty, if the farmers don't know what the rules are going to be for the next 5 years, they can't buy the equipment that they need, they can't move forward. I had a young farmer on my couch earlier in the year. He wants to buy a tractor. That's well over $100,000. He's not doing that because he doesn't know what the rules are going to be, so he's not going to make that loan to the local bank. Won't be, buying that with the local implement dealer. Really filters down through the economy, and it does affect jobs.
Have you told the senator to the Tea Party contingent in the House?
Well, at this point...
that seems to be the snag.
No, at this point, like I said, we're in conference. I think we'll get something out of conference, and then whatever comes out of conference, I think we've got an excellent chance of actually passing the bill on the floor.
What does the landscape look like, since this is being seen in, 2014? What's the outlook for the balance of the year, though, in getting much of anything done? Admittedly, it's going to be an election year, which is always a dicey time to move legislation of any kind.
No, it is. Hopefully we can continue on with the infrastructure bills, the WRDA bill, get that passed, which is really important to moving products, around our country, and then also importing and exporting with our ports and harbors. Things like that. These aren't very glamorous things. We're working hard on trying to get some a reauthorization of the bill that controls the chemical production and things, those kind of things. And again, I think we've got a good chance of doing that. I think what might derail that a little bit is the health care issue. All of the wind is kind of being sucked up now by that. And you're right, you reach a point in the year where it becomes difficult, with re-election time, where people are concentrating on those things.
Well, tell me if we're wrong, but the thinking seems to be that, since this program is being seen, I think in early January, the